about Exchange online introduction in today's session. So I'll just go straight to our speaker, the person that will be sharing Exchange online stuff with us today, the person of Joshua Adigun. So a lot of us have seen Joshua actually over time. Joshua is actually a project manager, a Django developer, a solution architect with Microsoft 365. He's also a modern workspace consultant. So please, let's welcome Joshua on board as he takes us through introduction to Exchange Online. Joshua, thank you for
Thank you
joining
very
us.
much. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you, Solomon. Okay, guys. It's nice to be in your midst again today, and this time to take you on exchange online. This is a part 1 series, so we have a lot to talk about. So quickly, I would share my screen so that we can quickly look at some things. Okay, so as you guys know, this is a continuation of the Microsoft 365 Nigerian community series. Yeah, and then this is a series we've started a long time ago. So today we'll be looking at Exchange Online, short form EXO, part 1, and then we would, as you all know, the community is a group of Microsoft certified trainers, right? So trying to give back to the community what we've learned from Microsoft and other Microsoft technologies. So my name is Joshua. Emmanuel already introduced me. And then about this course, right, we would definitely be talking about Exchange Online, the basics, and then we'll start from the basics to the more advanced level. So, and then the course agenda for today is we have 6 modules, yeah, 7. So we discuss about user mailbox, shared mailbox. We also talk about adding alias, enabling in-place archive, configuring a shared mailbox, setting up mail forwarding. We also talk about ways um, we use in converting a user mailbox to a shared mailbox, and then demonstrate the fundamental knowledge of assigning admin permissions. Okay, so that we're wasting much time, so we'll just delve into the study for today. So Exchange Online, right? Everything about Exchange Online is centered around the Exchange Admin Center. So basically, the Exchange Admin Center is um, an admin page or a page that gives the someone with exchange permission to carry out things around mailboxes, changes around mailboxes, modifications, or assigning of basically everything around user mailbox, shared mailbox, and anything that concerns um, Exchange Online. So we have the old admin center, and then we have the new admin center with new experience. So personally, I think I started using Exchange Online or the Exchange admin center when the old admin center was still much pretty in use, and I love till now. Actually, I still love the old admin center, right? So um, yeah, when you log into the Exchange Admin Center, you would see by default it redirects. Um, I think now it redirects to the new admin center. However, you can see a pane where you can always go back to the classic or the old admin center to carry out some modifications or changes. So we would from if you see from here, right? We would start by talking about quickly. I'll use 10 minutes to just quickly run through the agenda, right? So you would wonder why I'm jumping this to start with this. Sorry. You wonder why I'm jumping from module 1 to module 5, right? So, um, okay, so you know, uh, let's start with module 1, right? So, quickly, basically, this lesson is just to look at different types of exchange server recipients, right? So, what do we mean by recipient? Like I explained in one of the classes, right, recipients are basically um, objects that could receive emails or send out emails. Right? So we have different types of recipients in the exchange online, right? And then we have them listed here. Um, that's what we're going to talk about. However, after this lesson, we would see the different types of objects in Exchange Online, and then other things we'll be majoring on or focusing on today. So basically, we'll be focusing on the first two today, mailboxes and shared mailboxes. So mailboxes are user mailboxes in this case, and then we have shared mailboxes. So basically, user mailboxes are the common ones, right? User mailboxes are mailboxes that are assigned to a user. So a user that has Exchange Online license assigned to its account, is his or her account, right? A mailbox is provisioned for that user. So a user account, right? I could have an admin account without any license, right? It's an account, however, it does not have any license. So that account does not have, it's not a user mailbox because it does not have an exchange online, either plan one or plan two license assigned to it. So basically, a user mailbox is any account, any user account that is assigned an exchange online license, either plan one or plan two. And um, basically, like I said, each user mailbox is associated with a user account, and then each user mailbox can also be associated with archive mailbox. So we'll get to archive mailbox, right? We are not focusing on the resource mailboxes today, but um, we just want to explore the two common types of. I just want to show you the two common types of exchange recipients, right? We have the user mailboxes and the resource mailboxes. So basically, let's start with about the shared mailbox. So as the name implies, right, it's a mailbox that is shared between two or more individuals, right? And these individuals that this mailbox is shared amongst them, right? They they are they those individuals have what we call the user mailbox, right? It's only an account that is associated with a mailbox that can have access to a shared mailbox, right? So the reason why these users have access to the shared mailbox is for them to be able to read emails that are sent to a shared mailbox. So how does a shared mailbox work? Normally, a shared mailbox is just an email kind of container that shared between two or more persons, right? So that it's kind of a group mailbox. Actually, let me just use that word, but there's a difference, right? So the reason why I said it's a group mailbox is because it is accessed by two or more users. So shared mailboxes are a good solution for a group of people that need to share a common email identity. So there are ways to go about these shared mailboxes, which I'm going to talk about. However, some things are not allowed. There are some things we used to do then with shared mailboxes that are not allowed, are not sanctioned by Microsoft, right? However, some of those things have been stopped. So um, I just wanted to get this straight. User mailbox is a mailbox that is associated with a user account because that account has an Exchange Online license, either plan one or plan two, assigned to that user account. However, a shared mailbox is a mailbox that is accessed by two or more user accounts. So what you should know is that a user mailbox must have an Exchange Online Plan 1 or Plan 2 license. However, a shared mailbox does not necessarily need an Exchange Online Plan 1 or Plan 2. The reason why I say does not necessarily need is because you could go directly, you could create a shared mailbox directly, right? And using that method, you do not need to assign a license at all. However, if you have a user a mailbox and then maybe that user leaves an organization, right? And you want to convert a user mailbox to a shared mailbox, you need a license first assigned to that account that you want to convert. And then after you convert that user mailbox to a shared mailbox, then the shared mailbox does not need a license anymore. You can then go ahead to remove or unassign the license. So that's why I use the word not necessary, right? So just get the definition simple and short. One is per user, that's the user mailbox, and the other one accessed by a group of more than two or three persons. So we're going to look at mailbox settings. We have looked at how to create mailboxes before now, how to create user accounts before now. So we would look at how to create user mailboxes and then how to manage these user mailboxes, also how to disable or delete these user mailboxes. So we would also look at how to create shared mailboxes and how to manage shared mailboxes. Yeah, so like I said, the shared mailbox is for a group of persons, right? Either two or more. So so um so for those user accounts to be able to access the shared mailbox, there's what we call permissions, right? We have three of them: the full access, the senders, or send on behalf permission. So we would also look at permissions for recipients, right? So for the shared mailbox, basically. However, I can also give access. Um, I can give another user mailbox access to another user's mailbox. I don't know if you get that. So user A has an Exchange Online license, right? And then user B has an Exchange Online license. However, I want user A to be able to access the mailbox of user B, so we can also do that. So yeah, we would look at all this together in permits, right? We would also look at what we call the Exchange Online messaging policy, basically the in-place archiving. There are different features basically, but we'll be looking at the in-place archiving today. And then as time goes on, we'll look at the other ones. We would also look at the permissions, basically admin permissions based on the role-based access control model, right? So quickly, let's quickly look at just talk about in-place archiving. Basically, what in-place archive does is it eliminates the needs for personal um, have, it eliminates the need for you to personally store your PST or OST file, right? So sometimes what people do is they back up their emails into PST and then save it maybe in an external hard drive or even in OneDrive. I think Microsoft is kind of preventing or has started the process of preventing people from syncing PST files to OneDrive, right? So in-place archiving takes away the need for you to always back up your emails at intervals, right? Some persons every 3 months they back up their emails to PST, right? And you should know there's a difference between PST and OST. So PST is you going to adding your user account to Outlook and then trying to um, save or backup or export the data in that user account into PST. However, OST is the file that is resident on on your on your on your Outlook that is being used at the moment, right? That's a kind of simple definition that uh, give you understanding of how these things, the difference between them. So what I want you to do is just to get the simple definition right, and then you can then build on it by um, reading Microsoft documentations that will be shared. So archive mailbox and extra mailbox, right, allows users to store messages. So for example, you have Plan one gives you 50 gigabyte storage for your mailbox, right? However, I'm the CEO of, let's say, Microsoft, and then I receive emails on a daily basis, thousands of emails, hundreds of emails on a daily basis. However, I do not want to pay for plan two, right? Or let's say I have plan two. As a CEO, I should have plan two, that's 100 gig, right? And then because of the number of emails I receive and send out on a daily basis, my mailbox is getting filled up. So that is where the in-place archive comes in. So what we do first is to enable the in-place archive and then set some policies, retention policies based on some particular tags. And then these emails are then, let's say you set a retention policy that says emails greater than 365 days to be moved to the archive. So all emails that are greater or equal to 365 days are moved into the archive. And then because they are being moved to the archive, space is being provisioned in the user's main mailbox, right? So emails that get to that point equal or greater than 365 are moved, and then space is being created in the user main mailbox so that he can continue to receive or send out emails. So there are different ways this in-place archive works, right? And then basically to move emails or to even delete emails or some things like that. So we'll look at all those. And then there's a difference between archiving and journaling, right? So we would look at that. We'll look at journaling in the next or next series, basically. But there's a difference between both of them, right? So journaling refers to recording email communications as part of the organization email strategy. However, archiving refers to removing emails from their native location to the extra mailbox location that has been provisioned for the user. So basically, let's quickly look at permissions, right? Permissions in Microsoft have been moved actually to Microsoft Defender Portal, or yeah, okay, depending. It's either in compliance portal or in the security portal. So basically, these are permissions that are based on role-based access. So depending on the role, your role in the organization, right? Certain permissions are assigned to a particular user. So because I'm the CEO, certain permissions are assigned to me. Because you are the Exchange Online administrator, certain permissions are assigned to you, right? And even as even in the Exchange Online administration session, right? We have those that have access to the security reader, those that can carry out content search, e-discovery search, based on what the, the need actually, right? These roles are assigned to individuals to be able to carry out specific functions. Yeah, so this is how the permission looks like, right? One or two or three users or even groups can have access to a particular role. So it's not just that one user per role, no. Group of users, a lot of users, more than one users can be added to or can be given a particular role to perform particular function, right? So that's the quick rundown of what we're going to be talking about today as the theoretical aspect. So we'll quickly jump into our the Exchange Online Admin Center to look at all this. Okay, thank you. So let me okay, I'll be using a different account today. So just bear with me. Okay. So as you all know, we all know how to sign into the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 Admin Center. And then at the bottom here, you can see admin centers. So we have links to other admin centers depending on the license or subscription you have, right? So, and then when you click on all admin centers, you can see the um, individual admin centers for individual technology, right? SharePoint, Teams, SharePoint and OneDrive are together, Streams, Teams, Yammer, Security, Power BI, Power Apps, and the likes. So we are talking about Exchange. So let's click on Exchange. It's coming up. Yeah, so everything about Exchange, even if like what Solomon showed us some minutes ago, even in the previous sessions, right? Even if these users are synced from on-premise to Microsoft 365, right? And then the mailboxes are on the cloud or in the cloud, right? Um, so I can sync a user, right, to um, Microsoft 365, and then my emails are in the cloud, or I have an email server on premise. I can also sync that, right? So depending on the topology, or is it topology now, or the structure of your organization, basically, right? So, but everything about Exchange Online is being um, everything about Exchange Online is being done in Exchange Online Admin Center. So first, this is the page, right? This is the, like I said, this is the new admin center. So when you click here, you click on Exchange, now it redirects you to the new admin center, right? However, like I said, you can always go back to the classic Exchange admin center here. Let's open that down, and then we can quickly compare the interface and see how they differ. But everything in the old admin center has been brought to the new admin center, and some other things in the old admin center have been moved to other admin centers like security or compliance centers, right? So yeah, let's see. Okay, so this is the new the old admin center. Here it says try the new admin center, right? So this is how it looks like. This is it. Can you see the difference? So let's see, here we have home, recipient, and then a drop down um, menu, mail flow, roles, migration, mobile, report, insights, organization, public folder, settings, other features, right? Organization, compliance management, and then permissions and the recipients. So the, like for example, this compliance management is no longer here in the new one. Where is it? It's not here. Okay, it's not here, right? It's been moved to as you can see, to say as you can see here, the discovery page. If I, let's see, come here, let me see quickly. If I come here, it says that this feature has been moved to the Microsoft Purview, and Microsoft Purview is the compliance admin center, right? And that's where you can do most of these things in the compliance management from the old admin center, right? So let's quickly jump in here and then talk about the recipient types we are looking at today. So recipients now, right? We have both user mailboxes, and then we spoke about user mailboxes and then shared mailboxes, right? So any account, any user account, any user account from here, from active user, any user account that has what we call the Exchange Online license, right? or a shared any user account that has an Exchange Online license appears in the Exchange Admin Center. The reason is because it has a mailbox. Get it right. It has a mailbox. Shared mailboxes also appear here, like the name implies, shared mailboxes, right? Mailbox shared, although it's being shared by more than two persons. However, it's a mailbox, it also appears here. And then other recipient types, right? So the beginning, the starting point is you creating a user. We saw how we can create users the last time, right? And then how to assign the user a license. However, sometimes you can assign a subscription to a user. However, the a license, a particular license is unchecked. So sometimes you would have we've had issues where Microsoft users called in or raised support requests and they say, I have an active license subscription. I have Microsoft um, Business Premium. However, I can't access my mailbox. I can't access Exchange, my mailbox or Exchange, meaning they cannot access their Outlook, maybe on the web or if it has been added to Outlook desktop client, right, which is a rich client. So the first thing for you to do is the user has confirmed that he has a subscription, active subscription, which you confirm, and then you can come here and then check the apps. And like maybe Exchange Online has been unchecked. So can you see if I uncheck this and I save? So before that, let me do something. Before that, let's see this. So mail, when you come here, first thing you need to do when a user is assigned an Exchange Online license, right? A mailbox is provisioned for that user. So you see the size of the mailbox here. So because I have plan 2, I have 100 gig and I've only used 5 point something megabyte, right? So however, if I come back here and then scenario I painted earlier, let's see Exchange Online plan 2 is checked, and I click this. Let's see what will happen. Okay, must assign one of the following. Okay, so for me to for me to unassign this license is linked to other licenses. So let me check another one. Okay, let me check another one that can easily play with. So we would look at all these together, the errors and how to go about them. Look at it together so that we can have good. Okay, same thing. So this is what I'm gonna do, right? Let me come here, licenses. I come back here, so I would uncheck a lot of other ones. I think it complained of this. Let me see analytics. Let's see if it saves. Okay, that's the error. Can you see the error has reduced? So Microsoft Defender. All right, so let's check for Microsoft Defender. Okay, let's uncheck this and let's see. Cool. Okay, Defender for clouds, Defender for this. Defender for this. Please, can we mute our mics? All right. Let me see. It should work now. Cool. All right. So we couldn't unassign that particular license because other licenses are dependent on the Exchange Online Plan 2. So without the Exchange Online Plan 2, the you can't they can't actually work, right? So that's why we had those errors. So I think you've been able to see how to kind of resolve license assignment kind of right now. So let's go back to where we were before. So we see that this user Pradeep Gupta has what's the name had basically had a mailbox before now. However, because we unchecked the Exchange Online Plan 2, mailbox no longer shows here. So before I refresh this page, right, we would see Pradeep here that you can see. So one thing about the Exchange Online Exchange Admin Center, it gives you kind of an holistic overview of everything you have to do, and then gives you information about what you're doing and about a lot of things, right? So for example, we're in the mailboxes here, right? It shows you the display name, the email address, the recipient type. So basically their user mailboxes here, and then the archive status, it's on none at the moment, and then the last date they were modified. So I unassigned the license for this, right? The Racing Online and 2 license for Pradeep. So let's refresh and let's see what happens. This should disappear actually from the Exchange Online admin center because this user no longer have an Exchange Online license. Can you see? It's no longer here. So for any user, although it's still a user account here, it's a user account in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, but for it to appear in the Exchange Admin Center so that you can carry out Exchange activities, Exchange functions, it must have it must have an Exchange Online, either Plan 1 or Plan 2 license. So let's quickly go back and then so at this point now, right? We have quickly looked at this, right? So it does not have a mailbox anymore. So you can't really perform any exchange function on this user from the Exchange Online portal or admin center. So let's okay, I'll leave this user at this on this state. Okay, so let's look at shared mailboxes. So we've seen user mailbox, right, and what they need to appear in the Exchange Online Admin Center or Exchange Admin Center, basically. So let's look at shared mailboxes, right? We'll be talking about user mailboxes today and shared mailboxes. So we have what we call the shared mailboxes. So let me go back to the old admin center. Let me show you something. So in the old admin center, right, they are separated. I can see user mailboxes under mailboxes here, and I can see the shared mailboxes under shared mailboxes. However, in the new admin center, it is not like that. So you only see mailboxes, group, resources, contact. So however, let's say um, we want a shared mailbox to be accessed by one or two persons, by two or more persons, right? Or one or two persons. So we go ahead to create a shared mailbox. We click on this, and then let's say the display name is for the IT department, let's say IT department, and then the email we want it to be it at domainname.com. We'll come back to Elias, guys. We'll come back to Elias. So let's create this. Let's see what happens. Hope you guys can still hear me.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So now we have a shared mailbox created. Let's see if it's gonna show here. So can you see it now? IT department, shared mailbox. So in the new admin admin center, it's kind of have all of them as long as their mailboxes, right? Shared or user mailbox, kind of have them here. However, you can distinguish them from the recipient type column where you see it's a shared mailbox. So this is one way for you to create a shared mailbox. This is one way. The second way for you to create a shared mailbox is we all know how to create a user mailbox, right? Creating a user account and then assigning an Exchange Online license to the user. So let's do something. Let me quickly do something here. We'll quickly add the user. Let's say Ima Solo Ima.solo. Okay. On this, I want to create password for the user. I take password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. T-week. So I can't save, right? I need to meet the requirements, right? Password must be between this combination of this. Okay, let's see. Let me change this to at T-week 09. Okay, cool. So password this, let me copy this down lest I forget. Yeah, so all right, create this user next. So here I would create this user without a license, so I would see what will happen, right? I'll quickly show us something. User finish adding. Quickly, I did this the last time, but I want us to quickly go through it again so that you would see, you have a good understanding of what I'm talking about. So I created Ima, yeah, here it is. So let's see this. Let's click on mail, right? We're talking about mail, Exchange Online. So as you can see, it's because this user does not have an Exchange Online license, either plan 1 or plan 2, you would see this message when you go to mail. So you can't do anything around this. You can't do anything around this, right? So this user does not have an Exchange Online license. So now let's come here and assign a license to this user. We come here. Because we select this, let's ensure that Exchange Online plan 2 is selected. So we click on save. So let's see what happens. Quickly. Cool. So let's refresh this here. Can you see we are preparing a mailbox? Immediately this mailbox is done preparing, it appears under mailboxes, under recipient in the Exchange admin center, right? And then when it appears here, you can carry out whatever settings, modifications, or action you want to carry out. So let's see if it's done preparing. Sometimes you get some errors. It takes some minutes, sometimes days, depending on what's happening on the tenant actually. So I think this is done. Yep, this is done. Yeah, this is done. This is nice. Okay, so we saw how to create a shared mailbox from the Exchange admin center, right? So another way to create a shared mailbox, like I explained when I started this session, right, is you can convert a user mailbox to a shared mailbox. However, before you convert, that user mailbox must have an exchange online license. So let's do this. We have Ima solo, right? And I want to convert to a shared mailbox. Can you see the action here? One of the actions here is convert to a shared mailbox. Okay, let's go back to this user that I removed the license, exchange online license, that's Pradeep. Let's see if we have that option. You cannot see that option here on that mail, right? You can't see that option here. Oh, wow. Okay, it's still showing. Okay, let me refresh this page. It's not supposed to show, right? I think I've not refreshed the page, right? So, however, it can still show. That's one thing with Microsoft. So some of these things happen, and then that's why we have the support, and I can then go ahead to raise a support request. This license, from my understanding, for me to convert a user mailbox to a shared mailbox, the user mailbox must have a license, right? However, this user mailbox do not have. I'm trying to I'm trying to convert another user mailbox that another user account that does not have an exchange online license to a shared mailbox. However, I'm not able to do that. Why? Why can I do it with this? Why can I not do it with the other one? Right. So those are the issues you would see or encounter. So now it's saying we are preparing a mailbox for this user. One come here, right? It does not have an exchange online license, so it shouldn't even tell us that it's preparing a mailbox for this user. It should just show us that this account does not have an exchange online license. So I think it's still trying to propagate the changes that was made. So what am I trying to say, right? What am I trying to say? When you create a user, or when you have a user that does not have an exchange online license, you wouldn't see the option to create or to convert to a shared mailbox, right? Let me quickly walk through something. One. Test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if it's strong. Okay, cool. It's strong. Loading chunk, assign license. Let me go back. Okay, cool. I'm creating this user without a license. All right, close. So let me go back here. We would look at the other one too, but still wasting time. So as you can see for me, it does not have a license, right? But when I come here and I go to mail, this user does not have an IC online license. So I'm not able to perform whatsoever function that relates to converting this user to a shared mailbox. So I'm trying to open another tab so I can show you. But let's keep going. So let me come back here to Ima Solo quickly. All right, so if I come to mail, this network or this system is slow. Okay, I have test here. Okay, let me compare this quickly. Okay, so it's taking time to come up. I don't know why. Okay. All right, mail does not have a user does not have an existing online license. However, when I come here to IMA, I come to mail, I can see convert. So basically, I'm just trying to I want to make us understand that these are the things you would see when you want to perform exchange related functions, right? And then yeah, so now that we have this, we can go ahead to convert to a shared mailbox. Let's see. So we are converting a user mailbox to a shared mailbox. And then remember when I created a shared mailbox from the Exchange admin center, I did not assign any license to it, right? So let's see whether we have Ima Solo here. So let's continue with our conversion. Yep. So this user mailbox has been converted to a shared mailbox. So let's see what we have here. Let's see what we have here. So we have Ima Solo as a user mailbox. That was before the conversion. So let's refresh again and see if it will change to a shared mailbox. So while we wait for it to come up, this is done. I also let me see. I think there's another way we can do. We can use um. Let's come to Teams shared mailbox. So you can also create a shared mailbox from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So you have it here. And click Add Shared Mailbox, and then it takes you through the process of adding a shared mailbox. So let's add another one. Let's see, solo. Yep, we want this dot this. Let's save changes. Did it create? Okay, it's creating now. So while we wait, let's confirm if this has changed. Ima Solo, can you see it has changed to a shared mailbox? It has changed to a shared mailbox. You can see it here. So let's see, this has been created. Let's refresh. It shows here. So now we have seen three ways to create a shared mailbox, either from the Exchange Admin Center, either from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, or converting a user mailbox to a shared mailbox, right? Yeah, you can also convert a user mailbox to a shared mailbox. I think using PowerShell too. Yeah, so that's that. So the next thing we're going to talk about is um, let's talk about alias. So let's talk about alias. Let me go back to a user account. Let's say I'm working with um, um, party, right? Working with party, and then I want to add an alias to this account. Yeah, I want to add an alias to this account. So as you can see, when you click on the user account here, it brings up this pane on the right hand side. Yeah, so you see manage aliases. So we remember what Solomon told us about CNAME, right? CNAME, it's called canonical name, right? Basically, just for it handles aliases. Like he demonstrated the other day, when you type contoso.com, it redirects you to Microsoft.com. When you type fabricam.com, it redirects you to Microsoft.com. And when you type Microsoft.com, it takes you to Microsoft.com. So basically, fabricam.com, contoso.com are aliases. So for user mailboxes now, for shared mailboxes, right? So aliases means emails that would be sent to these aliases, right? Should come to my to So I have an alias here. Let me add an alias. Let's say party, right? So let's say what's the surname? Fernandez. Maybe I have an account, Fernandez P at this domain. Yeah, and people know me with this with this. Some people know me with this account. However, I now have a new account. So what I want to do is I want people that knows me with this account, instead of me, maybe I have a million people that knows me with this account. So I don't want to start sending them emails to tell them that I now use this account. It's kind of worrisome or annoying to some persons because they have to go through their directory to change all those. So you can add this account as an alias to this account so that when emails are sent to this account, it comes to this. So you don't need to worry that some people knows me with Adigun Joshua at Microsoft.com, and now I use Joshua Adigun at Microsoft.com. Doesn't matter, right? Just add them as an alias. So this is one way you can add an alias to um, a user mailbox, right? So for example, right, this is my primary email address. If I edit this, let me click on done. So remember this account, party f at this domain.com, right? For example, I edit this domain, this account rather, gets added as an alias. Let's do something. See, I add FE. The original account without E is added as an alias. Can you see this? It's added as an alias. So I can come here and add an alias directly. I could go and edit the primary email address. The original one that was there before gets added as an alias. So that if when emails are sent to any of these, I can receive it here. I can still come here and then add R. So the FE gets added also as an alias. Can you see? I can come here, delete alias. I can change it. I can change any of them to become the primary email address, right? So this is one way to create an alias. So the second way is from the Exchange Admin Center. We're almost done, guys. Yes, so I have, let's see, we're working with party, right? Sorry, party is not. Okay, see, yeah. So I have, this is Exchange Admin Center, right? So I have the information for this user, right? I have the contact name and the likes. I also have an alias. Yes, this is the user ID, right? And I have the point for alias. So let me see. Okay, mailboxes. Let's see if it shows here. Okay, this is the new admin portal. So okay, I would come back to the new admin portal, but let me quickly show you from the old admin portal, right? Sorry for that. Let's refresh this. We are working on party, right? Yes, party F. So let's see what we have here. Party F. So I double click on this. Okay, sorry, it's coming back. So you guys have seen how we resolved a licensing issue, right? Particular licenses or license depending on other license, right? So you see how we resolve that, right? So we would also look at how to get the alias from the new admin center. But let me quickly show you from the old admin center so that we would cover what we need to cover. I'll double click on this. and then brings up a new dialog box. So all these things we're going through, right? It's good we go through them so that you see them firsthand, and then when you encounter such, you know how to um, handle them. So we have um, uh, what's the name now? We have the email addresses here, right? I can decide to let's say I don't know if this works, but let me do this. So let's add an email address. Let's see. Um, let's see. You get something. Let me try something. So hold on. FRD at what's the domain? At the domain.com. Sorry, I need to get this. See what happens. So it gets added here. However, there is a difference between the small and the big SMTP. We would come to that, we'll look at that. But correct me if I'm wrong, Emmanuel and Solomon, right? I can add, what's the name? An alias this way too, right? So quickly, that's one way you can also do that via PowerShell. We will look at that in the next session or today. So we would also look at quickly, we would look at email forwarding, right? I think our time is fast spent. Apologies for taking our time, right? So you can do this from the user Microsoft 365 admin portal, right? You can do this from here. You can come down to here. This is admin portal, right? Microsoft is okay. Yeah, mail, and then I can add email forwarding here. So what this means is, apologies. One minute, please. All right. So I can add, basically what email forwarding does is I want to, any email that is being forwarded, that is being sent, any email that is being sent to my account should be forwarded to another account. So I can decide to add this account and then save. So emails that are forwarded to, that are sent to the party Fernandez user account should also be forwarded to the adigunjoshua91@gmail.com, right? So I can decide to say I want all emails forwarded to this account. I don't want to keep a copy. So all emails coming to this account. So this is basically done when, let's say, a user from the technical department leaves, right? However, he's one of the key guys, and then all our stakeholders, all our customers, our clients knows him. So we don't want to deprovision our account, right? We can just have a forwarding setup for that account, so that the new person replacing him, let's say it's Joshua, email sent to party would automatically be forwarded to Joshua, and Joshua receives the email and then acts on it. So you can do that from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can also do that from um, the Exchange Admin Center at the top here, right? I just click on forwarding, and then I set the email I want to forward to, right? Yeah, I set the email I want to forward to. So it has more option than the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, right? I can say deliver message to both forwarding addresses or address and mailbox, or I can decide to uncheck it and say deliver to just this account. So remember we added this account from what's the name? From Microsoft 365 Admin um, Center. I can decide to, so because this is an external email address, that's why you see this is selected as forward to an external email address. I can decide to say, okay, just internal users, right? And then I search for one of the users in my organization, right? That is within my organization means my Microsoft 365 tenant. So I see them here. I select anyone, and then I click on add. This user gets added, right? And then all emails sent to the party account is forwarded to that email. So quickly, right, before I call it a day, let's look at a shared mailbox. We have a shared mailbox. I spoke about um, having users having two or more users having access to the shared mailbox, right? So we have the shared mailbox here, which is the IT department, right? So we want to give other users access to this shared mailbox. What do? We come to delegation. So send us, read. So here now you would see send us and then full access. Let me quickly show you something here. Yep, shared mailbox. Which one are we looking at? Sorry, we're looking at IT, right? So let's come here. This slow. So IT. I quickly want to explain something before I go off. So let's see. Okay, so you see manage permissions here. So you see read and manage permissions. You see send as permission. You see send on behalf permission. So read and manage permission is the full access permission, which you can see here, the full access, read and manage. Then we have send as here. So the other option does not show here. That's how Microsoft wants it now, right? So, but I'll quickly explain from here. So full access means the user you're going to add to this shared mailbox has full access to send on behalf, to send as, to do whatsoever thing you want to do with that shared mailbox, to read, to manage, to send on behalf or send as, right? That's full access. That's full permission to carry out functions on behalf of this shared mailbox. However, the send as permission, right? So there's a difference between both. Uh, One is you are sending as that. Send as means I'm sending an email, right, with my own user account. Let me quickly do this. People will understand more. Let me put edit access. Let me add member. So this is the way the steps in which you add permission, right? So let me give Joshua full access permission. So let's wait. And let me go back. Let me give this user Joshua again, or let me give a different user send us permission. So what this means is that this user, right, Joshua has full access to this shared mailbox. However, Diego has sent us permission, meaning Diego can use his own account. Because he has permission to this shared mailbox, he can send us this shared mailbox so that when he sends an email, it doesn't show Diego's email address. It shows the shared mailbox, that's it@thedomainname.com. It shows the shared mailbox address. So when the user receives it, the user knows that this email is coming from the shared mailbox address. It does not, the user does not know that whether Diego is the one that sent the email. All he knows is that this email is coming from this shared mailbox. However, send on behalf rather, means Diego or Joshua is sending email on behalf of the shared mailbox. So the recipient sees that the email is coming from Joshua or Diego, but on behalf of the IT@domain.com shared mailbox, right? So that's just the difference between the three permissions, right, for shared mailbox. So we have seen how to add all of these. Quickly, let me see what's remaining on our agenda. We have spoken about user mailbox, shared mailbox, alias. Okay, quickly, I'll talk about in-place archive, and then, okay, I've spoken about in-place archive. However, I've not shown you how to enable that, and I'll talk about admin permissions. So in-place archive, right? All I need to do, I'll use the old admin center quickly so I don't waste time. All I need to do is select the user account and then come here. Can you see on the right hand side? You see enable. It means this account does not have in-place archive enabled. So if I click on enable, it asks me if I want to enable this. I said yes. And then let's see what happens. This should change to disable. This should change to disable, right? So you see. And then here, for that user, you see what's the name? Archive in bracket. So it means that this user has been enabled for online archiving. And then online archiving entails a lot, right? It entails a lot. It entails a lot. Let's come quickly to mailbox features, right? We have what we call retention policy that comes with default MRM. We'll talk about this more when we get to this point, but this is how to enable in-place archive. And this in-place archive, like I said earlier, it depends on the retention policies and the duration. Earlier I said all emails greater or equal to 365 days should be moved to the archive. So until that tag and that retention policy is set, emails, the default MRM policy that comes with the retention policy acts on the emails in this mailbox, right? So yeah, that's that, and then okay, permission is the last one. So let's look at the new Exchange Admin Center. So we have permissions. Where is it? So we have roles, right? Roles, permissions, same thing. So we have admin rules. So, like I said earlier, these are roles that are assigned to individuals to carry out specific functions. Yeah, actions. So we have a lot of admin from communication compliance to view only organization management, right? So we have what you need to do is to go through, for you to be able to apply this rule to any of the users, right? You need to ensure you understand what this rule are meant for. When it's assigned to a user, what does that user what is that user able to do with this rule? So quickly, let me see. Yeah, so there's something we used to do sometimes ago. There is what we call when the system flags the user that the user is sending spam emails, the user is blocked from sending emails, right? However, this when you check, you unblock the user is blocked again. But however, these users are sending what's the name, legit emails, right? So that was something we used to do back in the days when, yeah, we used to give them some admin rules basically, and then it stops. Sometimes it doesn't stop. So basically, admin rules are given to users to view data, to complete a task, and then use PowerShell CMDlet to do carry out some exchange admin functions basically. So um, um, that's about the admin rules. So for example, let's look at the communication compliance, right? Provides permission to all communication compliance rules, right? To administrator, to an analyst, to an investigator, or just to view. So if you have this rule, right, you can, these rules are basically for these four um, individuals or these personnel: administrator, analyst, investigator, or a viewer, right? Or let's say you want to assign the security reader, right? So basically, the membership in this role group is synchronized across services. This role is not manageable through the administrator portal, right? So what these the members or users that have this role assigned to them may include cross-service administrator, external partner groups. By default, this group may not be assigned any role. However, so you need to understand there is a full documentation to this, right? For you to understand what admin role, what exchange admin role you want to assign to a user, depending on what action you want this user to perform, right? So again, we have just a quick summary of what we have looked at today. We have looked at what a user mailbox is, a shared mailbox. We have looked at how to add an alias and what an alias is. We've looked at in-place archive, what it is and how to enable it. We've looked at how to configure a shared mailbox. We've also looked at how to set up mail forwarding, and we have looked at how to convert a user mailbox to a shared mailbox. And then we have also looked at admin permissions, how to assign them, right? So quickly, how to assign them. Yeah, we have looked at admin permission. So next we'll look at how to assign them in next class, something. Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for your time. Apologies for taking much of your time, but we need to do justice to the cause.
Thank you so much, Joshua. This is actually a wonderful session. A lot have been learned within this short while. So guys, if you have a question, the floor is open. If you have a question, you can raise up your hands. You can drop it in the chat. Oh, okay. We actually have a question in the chat. Aria was asking that are you talking about Dikim? Was there any time you talked about Dikim? Okay, Aria, you can have the floor. You can have the floor.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So, it was when he was talking about what he used to do back then when users are sending spam mails and they are blocked and all of that. That was why I said maybe he was talking about DKIM because in my office we had an experience recently where um there's a particular shared mailbox that once we send out emails from it, to external email addresses, Gmail and the rest, the recipients receive it in their spam folder. So it was while we're troubleshooting that and coordinating with our global support group in our office HQ. That was when when they resolved it and they told us that they had to do something that is related to the KIM. That was why I mentioned that. So my question now exactly is about shared mailboxes and the permissions that users do have. In my office, there's one we have, and the unit that owns that shared mailbox, their leader, their team lead, came to us and was like, this shared mailbox, he alone wants to be able to access it. That he does not want others to be able to read mails that are sent into it, but he wants them to be able to reply. wants them to be able to reply emails from the shared mailbox, but he does not want them to be able to read any email that comes into it. Like once an email comes into it, they won't even know. They will only be able to send out email from that shared mailbox, but they will not be able to receive any email that comes into it. So I was wondering how that could be possible. It was done, but then because our email platform, Exchange Online is what we are using, but then it is managed from our HQ. So we don't have access to manage it locally. So I know it was done, but then I've been wondering how exactly that was possible.
Okay, Joshua, are you still online with us?
All right. Yes, I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question, right? Um, First, I'll talk about the other thing I spoke about. Um, so it's different from your emails getting into the spam folder of the recipient um, or the junk folder. Basically, I'm talking about the sender is totally blocked from sending emails. So that's something we used to do that it's not that I am apologies I mentioned that, but it's not supposed to be something it's not so but it's different from what you're talking about, right? So about
All
your
right.
question, about your question, right? So what you can do is we saw three permissions for a shared mailbox. One is full access, manage, read and manage. So when a user has that access, the full access permission is able to read and manage that shared mailbox. That's what your admin wants, right? So he alone gets that full access. However, other users in that department that have access to that shared mailbox can just be given senders. Basically, they are given the senders permission. So all they are able to do is to send as that shared mailbox. Do you get?
Okay, I think I get it now.
Yes. So that's why we have the different permissions. So I can also say, okay, what I want is I want this user just to be able to send on behalf of this shared mailbox. You are using your account to send on behalf of the shared mailbox. The recipient knows that the email is coming from me, however, on behalf of the shared mailbox. Do you get? So I can give you only that permission, and that's all you can do. Or I can assign the send as permission, and you can only send as the shared mailbox. So when you send the email, the recipient sees that the email is coming from. However, you do not have the full access permission to read and manage. So that's basically what was done.
Okay, I get it now. I get it. But one thing I want to say again is I'm not exactly sure, but these units I'm talking about, I think I've heard them one time that after their team leaders read the mail, he sends this to them and then they're able to reply on top of it. So I don't know what they mean by sends to them. Maybe he forwards it to them or something. And then they're able to reply, like have a mail trail. They're able to reply to whoever is sending the mail to them using that shared mailbox, even though they couldn't read when the mail came in. But then later, they're able to write on the mail, you know, and send us, like you said, from that. So I was wondering if they didn't see the email when it came in, how would they now be able to write on it and send, a reply or something to the sender?
You already answered the question. The email was
Can I
forwarded to
say
them,
something?
right? So
Well,
you want to
I
say
Can you
wasn't
hear
something?
me?
sure what exactly was done.
Yeah,
Maybe it was forwarded to
I want
them,
to say
but
something.
I
Can you
don't
hear
know.
me?
Okay, Solomon, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know why this. I don't know. Am I echoing?
No, it's
No.
okay.
Mm.
Okay. So for that, right? Aria, what you're saying is actually what I even wanted to say is sometimes what we can do, we can as well try to give the person senders and see if we add the mailbox, the person can view the message when it lands in the mailbox. Like if the person can view the content of the mailbox, right? If you give the person senders permission, then we go to like add the share mailbox. It's possible the person might see it, but there's something we do at our place of work, right? What we do is we if you have some permissions, you can probably delete from the shared mailbox, you can do stuff, right? But instead of giving those people the permission directly, we use security group. We have mail enabled security group. So we
Yes.
pass the shared mailbox to the mail enabled security group. And with mail enabled security group, you can choose to approve messages. You can choose to do whatsoever is happening. But now, since it is mail enabled security group, the mail has to go through that mail enabled security group. That is where those people will be added to. So those people, they are not really being added to the shared mailbox itself. They are added to the mail enabled security group. So what will be happening to them will be what we set on the mail enabled security group. We can choose to say, before the email comes to the mail enabled security group, the owner of the group should approve it. So the mail is actually getting to the shared mailbox. Me, that is maybe the head of that department, I am in the shared mailbox. I'm seeing the mails getting in. But if I don't approve it for the mail enabled security group, those users, they won't get the mailbox. But they might have other permissions they can do. So that's one way. And another thing we can do, I don't know if we'll cover transport rules, right? With transport rules, I can actually play, like you can sit down with transport rules. If you know how to use transport rules, you can play on how the mail will flow and how you can probably block those other users from getting it. But then you can still just use PowerShell command and give them permissions that you want them to have on the shared mailbox. And apart from giving just permissions, like you see him, Joshua, giving permissions, he spoke about PowerShell, right? With PowerShell,
Yeah.
you can as well reduce the permissions with PowerShell. You can just use PowerShell to do whatsoever you want. So, but what I'm guessing they probably did in your own scenario, like the situation, is probably there's a mail enabled security group that they are using. So we have different groups, right? We have the M365 group, we have the distribution list, we have the security, and then we have the mail enabled security group. So the mail enabled security group, it does the same thing with the security group, but you can use it for mails and all of that. So that's probably what I think happened. But all this stuff, to be frank, is something we can just use our tenants and test, right? Because the way this whole stuff works, right? Even if I know this stuff, since I'm not the developer, right? There are some, it's either I'll read through Microsoft documentation. Microsoft documentation will tell me this is what this can do, and this is what this can do. So implementing them and connecting them together, it is up to me. So most times, if you want to get some stuff done, you can actually just implement it. So for that scenario, just check up mail enable security group, then use mail enable security group to see how you can accomplish that. Because I've tried using mail enable security group to do something similar to what you're talking about. So yeah, that's just my own side of that question. Because just to still confirm, you said the users, they can't see the email coming into the mailbox content, but the owner can see it, and they have permission to send us.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's possible they use the mail enable security group. It's possible that they do it, because I've done something like that. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Solomon. So Solomon has said it all right. You can use enable security groups, right? When we get to groups, you will see the full functionalities of the group. And then, like you also said, you can use transport through. That's another sweet part of Exchange that you can sit with and then play around and then do some manipulations, right, with your Exchange tenant or something. So, and also he made mention, Solomon said something. He said Microsoft has documentations that will tell you this is how things are done, this is how things are done, and it's up to you to put those things together and see how it works. So if you remember, I mentioned sending emails, content, the sender getting blocked. So a lot of things you can do that are not even authorized by Microsoft. I'm not going to mention them, right? But when you work with Indians, you see a lot of those magics, right? So it's good we have we have all this, and then we can always go back to our tenant and then practice that. Thank you. Thank you, Solomon, for input.
You're welcome. And sorry, just one thing. When you spoke about the spam, right? Going to spam, right? You know, when you're setting your text record, we have SPF, right? The SPF records, they help prevent the spoofing when you have spoofing mails. Then we have DKIM, right? So for most organizations, right, the DKIM just does the work of telling you that how would I put it, the destination email, right? Just to trust the destination emails. So if you have your SPF well set up, your mail should not be going to junk, right? But to just further increase security and other stuffs, you just need to work with your DKIM. And there's also one they call DMAC, right? DMAC, sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that well, but it's DMAC, right? So you can also work with DMAC, DKIM, all of them is to provide security. But by default, if you set up your SPF well in M365, it should help you do the job of preventing spoofing, somebody spoofing with your emails or doing all those stuff. Because when I was talking about the domain, the first text record is to verify that you're the owner of the domain. The second one, that's where the security comes in. That's the SPF record. But most times, if you have issues like what you said, right, the second level of protection that most people go up to is setting up their DKIM and also DMAC. So those two stuffs, they can as well help you protect your mail flow security. But all these stuff, like I still said, if you're working and the issue comes up, you will have to sit down, look at what is happening, then see what exactly is happening. Because if I just say, oh, my email is going to spam, my this thing is, sometimes we don't know why it is going to spam. Sometimes sending multiple email can make your email go to spam. People start flagging your emails and it will be going to spam, right? So you need to know what's actually happening around that mailbox. There's also what we call message header. So I think Joshua should also know about that. He should, I don't know, but if we look at the curriculum, it's there. If you read your message header, you will see exactly what is happening to the mail. Like when you do test mail, you can read the message header. Then when you get that, you can now know how to troubleshoot issues like that. So that's just for you spoke about spam, right? So that's just for the spam aspect. But it's still good you learn about SPF, DKIM, and DMAC. They are for protection.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Solomon. Let me quickly add to that. So let me give you guys a simple definition of what Solomon just said. So we have what we call the email authentication methods, right? We have 3 of them: the SPF, which is the sender policy framework. We have the DKIM, domain key identifier mail, and then DMAC, something messaging record. Yeah. So those are the 3 basically, right? SPF, like he said, SPF. When you set your SPF, then it's telling the recipient that the email that is coming from this domain, or okay, let me put it this way: when you set your SPF, you are now authorizing your domain, right, to send email on your behalf. So whatsoever user is in that domain, that carries that domain, is authorized to send emails on your behalf. However, when you now implement DKIM, you're now adding extra security, like Solomon said. Okay, well, this email that from this sender is a legit email. Something's added to the header, like a key, a private key, public key that the destination, the recipient uses a public key to decrypt the email, right? And then DMAC basically is for send the from address, and then I don't know, Ario, if you have or some of you have sent out emails and then you receive a bounce back NDR. So we have the 5321 and 5322.
Non-delivery.
So DMAC also deals with the from address. So the email is coming from this particular address. And if there is an issue with the recipient, or if the recipient rejects the email, right, please send a return message through this address. That's what DMARC does. And then, yeah, like you also said, we'll look at headers and how to read headers of emails. Sometimes, see, Solomon said everything. Sometimes we have a layout of how things should work. However, they don't work that way. Normally, right, if you are reading a header of an email, if you are sending email, let's say within the Microsoft 365 Nigeria community, right, we have our domain and we send emails. You should always see the SCL, the spam confidence level, to be -1, which means it didn't go through the spam filter. We'll talk about all those in the future series, right? It didn't go through the spam filter. It means one thing. If you're reading an email header and you see that, it means one thing. It's either that email is an internal email or a transport rule was created so that all incoming emails should bypass spam filter. However, like you also said, sometimes emails go to junk folder, go to the spam folder. I've seen situations where internal emails are going to the junk folder. And then you troubleshoot, you read the headers, you see some high delivery pool IPs like that. So a lot of things can lead to that. So we would look at all those to get a full understanding of exchange, basically exchange online. So, but what I want you to take from this interactive session is what Solomon have said about the scenario we painted, and then the difference between the 3 email authentication methods. Yeah, thank you. Any other question?